Yeah. So how many people do we have now? Hello, Fatu. We finally. Okay, so I want to welcome Marina, Esiri to live. Yes, I want to welcome her to this live. It's been a long time coming, and in fact, Marina has been the one. She has been my ginger. I won't lie you. I won't lie to you.
Really?
At some point, I was just tired. I'm just like, I am tired though. Marina said, no, you can't be tired though. You can't be tired. So yeah, so we are here now and we'll be talking about the advantages of living in Saskatchewan and Manitoba, more like comparisons of the benefits immigrants can get and what students can also expect once they immigrate to either Saskatchewan or Manitoba. When I mean students, people who are yet to get their status. So, for those who have not subscribed to Marina's channel, please do me a favor. You have to subscribe, but we need to push our channel to 10,000 before this year runs out. Can you do me that favor and subscribe to our channel as soon as possible so that you can be hearing more tips about living in Saskatoon and Saskatchewan? It's very important for all of us. So I want to say thank you for joining us on this live. For taking your time to share your Saturday evening with us. It's afternoon here and it's cold and it's white in Saskatchewan. So Marina, I'll leave the rest of the conversation to you now.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. It's so much fun to finally be here on Wolo's channel. I don't know what you mean by I'm the one that gingers you, Wolo. Let's start from there. How? When I see the content you put out, I know and I have an idea the kind of research that goes into the content you put out. Why do you think I kind of stay away from how to migrate?
Exactly.
It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. Like it's a lot to manage. You're keeping up with trends. You have to jump on announcements as soon as they come out before it becomes stale. So
exactly,
yeah, the egbo in the business. We're looking up to you. So it's a good thing we motivate and push each other because that's exactly what's going on here as well.
Yeah. So it's so exciting to have you here, and we'll just kickstart the show, and we'll talk about what it is like living in Saskatoon. I would also talk about what it is like living in Manitoba. And first of all, what benefits can new immigrants get if they go to Saskatoon? The reason is Saskatchewan is very popular now when it comes to immigration. It's the most popular immigration pathway for people who are 35 years to 45 years because they are getting nominations from Saskatchewan. So they want to know, okay, I'm getting a PNP. What benefits will I get if I land as an immigrant? Which city should I choose? Should I choose Saskatoon or should I choose Regina? So they will want to know what to do, what to expect, what benefits can they get as new immigrants in terms of daycare, in terms of government benefits and all that.
So Saskatchewan as a province, the two major cities, like you have mentioned, what I find most people tilt towards when they're coming to Saskatchewan is either Regina or Saskatoon. Regina is the capital of Saskatchewan. Regina and Saskatoon, for those people who are Nigerians, I can liken it to Lagos and Abuja.
Okay.
So while Abuja is like the official capital of the country, Lagos is like the commercial capital. So that's how Regina and Saskatoon is. Regina is the capital of the province, which means that you will find more government-related jobs, government-related crown corporations, the head offices of crown corporations, you will find them in Regina. Saskatoon, on the other hand, because Saskatoon is bigger than Regina, Saskatoon is more populated than Regina.
Wow.
So you have more independent organizations, more private organizations. Those crown corporations also have offices here as well, but you would just, in terms of the options that you have to move from one position to the other, you might find those more options in Regina because they have the head offices, as in this is talking about government organizations now and crown
Okay.
corporations. But Saskatoon, I would say, has more options when it comes to private individuals, more people who are now into other areas other than government, people who are into maybe like agriculture,
Okay.
health services and things like that. Saskatoon is now starting to attract more private investment, right?
Okay.
So that's what I would say the major first difference is when it comes to like job opportunities.
Okay.
So today I'm going to base most of the things I'm talking about on Saskatoon. What are the benefits for newcomers? So
Mm.
when I landed in May of 2016, and first thing, one of the most important advice I got from the people who were already here was to go to the Open Door Society, the Saskatoon Open Door Society, the Newcomer Information Center. There's a
Okay.
lot of information there. There are a lot of resources that newcomers are able to access for free. A
Okay.
newcomer typically in this sense will be considered somebody who has been here 1 year and under.
Mm-hmm.
After 1 year, it's assumed that your feet is
Yeah.
on the
Settled.
ground, you know your way around things. There are so many free services that the Open Door Society and the Newcomer Information Center offer to newcomers, from things like filing taxes,
Okay.
for applying for benefits. The benefits at this point will now include things like childcare subsidy, childcare benefits, then
Okay.
childcare subsidy. Those are two different things. In
Okay.
Saskatchewan, yeah, depending on the family income, right, you are
Mm.
able to access an extra subsidy to um, augment the cost of childcare if you have
Okay.
children, right?
Okay.
Typically, newcomers, especially those who are coming from maybe third world countries, by the time you do the conversion of the proof of funds that you bring to Canadian dollars, most people fall under the low income bracket,
Yeah.
especially before you have a job.
Yeah.
Now, because you're just coming, you don't have a job, you don't have any notice of assessments from filing tax the year before to determine what your net family income is,
Mm.
you're able to use your the last earnings from the country that you're coming from the last year. So of course, when you compare, say in Nigeria, you compare naira to Canadian dollars, it would definitely be under what is considered low income here. So
Yeah.
newcomers are able to access a lot of the benefits, almost all of them in that beginning phase. But if
Okay.
you don't know and you already start working, they are now going to use the income you're making here to
Okay.
determine. And if it's a job that takes you above the minimum threshold, there are some benefits you will no longer be able to access because you're not considered low income anymore,
Okay.
right? So those benefits that newcomers can access, there's rental subsidy.
Okay.
Saskatchewan offers an extra amount of money to cover the cost of rent. You have to call the office and apply for it. It's a straightforward process. We were able to do it over the phone because when we landed, we didn't come with a lot of money. So we typically went under that low income household, right?
Cool. Yeah.
And then there's also the one that is called the child care subsidy. It is different from the child care benefits. That's a federal benefit,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Saskatchewan offers an extra amount of money, again, depending on your family income, depending on your family composition, you are able to access an amount of money to cover up to the cost of a certain percentage of the cost of daycare. You
Okay.
have to assess this one, you must show that there's a reason why you can't take care of the kids yourself. So is it
Okay.
that you're going back to school to upgrade your qualification, or
Mm-hmm.
do you have a job, you're a newcomer, you don't have any family here, so you're going to need help with watching your children while you're at school or at work. So there has to be a justifiable reason why you need help with childcare, right?
Okay.
For me, when we came, I had to go back to school and my husband got a job, so we were able to access that benefit. At the
Okay.
point where we applied, the cost of childcare for both my kids, they were three. My daughter was two. My son was just about to turn four at that time. The cost of childcare for both of them was $1,300 a month.
Okay.
The childcare subsidy that we got paid $800 out of that,
Okay.
and we were now left with paying the difference of $500, which was bearable. But
Okay.
as soon as family income changes,
Yeah, of
the
course.
subsidy you're able to access goes down. And as
Exactly.
soon as I was done with school and I started working, subsidy was gone. They took it off. Like,
did it apply to all? Did you also apply to the rental assistance as well? Because
yes, we did.
Manitoba also has rental assistance, which
Yes,
we
we did.
get. Okay, so the
We're able
moment
to access, we're able to access, I think, about $350 monthly
dollars.
to
Okay,
contribute to like the cost of rent. Yeah.
okay. The same thing with Manitoba too. There's also the rent assistance and there's also the childcare subsidy as well. And just like you mentioned, the moment you start working, the amounts they give to you start reducing, so you start losing out on all those benefits. So
True.
what would you advise people to do? Would you say they should just finish all their schooling before they start working so that they can take advantage of these benefits, or should they just go ahead and start working so and they don't get any of these benefits? And these benefits are calculated, I think, after tax time, or is it before tax time?
So the benefits, it's at the end of the tax year. Is
Mm-hmm.
the notice of assessment is what will determine what benefits you are able to assess for the next year. So
Okay.
if you get, that's why it's important to apply for these benefits in the first year.
Okay. Yeah.
First year, when they are still using your income from
From
your home country
home
to
country.
give it
Yeah.
determination. So
Yeah.
most times people are able to assess close to the maximum if
Mm-hmm.
you're considered really low income. But when
Okay.
you're already working here, you're already paying taxes here, income tax and all that, when they're
Mm-hmm.
going to determine what you are eligible for, it will no longer be your income from your home country, it will be your income that you earned here. And
Okay.
sometimes, because people don't typically, I mean, I'm going to use Nigeria as the example. That's the only other country I've lived in, right?
No.
So
Yeah.
imagine that I make 1.8 million naira a year in Nigeria. If you do the conversion, that's not up to 10,000 Canadian
It's not.
dollars.
It's about 5,000. With the current exchange rate, is now like 5 or 6,000 Canadian.
Exactly. And you hardly find people here, even with minimum wage, that you will
Mm.
make $5,000 a year. It's
Yeah.
not possible. It's going to be higher than that. So by the time they do that assessment using your Canadian income, your
Mm-hmm.
net family income is going to increase from what it was the previous year. So,
Okay.
which automatically means that your benefits go down.
Okay.
While I advise people to apply for as many benefits as you can when you just learn, I also will not say don't work, because at
Yeah.
the end of the day there's only so much you can get. Like, what's the quality of life you want from, if your rent is $800 and you get 300, the $500 is going to have to come from somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're not working and you're only going to depend on benefits, you can't survive alone just
Yeah.
depending on benefits. So
Yeah.
one person at least in the family should work.
Work.
That's what I would advise. One person at least should work, so that you can, at least with the benefit and then the income from one person, you can meet your basics without so much of a hassle. I
Yeah.
personally, me, I believe in making real income. I believe in making,
Than
what's the
depending on the
point
government.
limiting myself? If I
Uh,
can make 5,000 a month, why
yeah.
would I want to cut that because I want to get an extra 300 or an extra
from
500?
from the government. Yeah, in my own case, we did okay. We knew, but we were like, I didn't know that you can use your income from home to get the benefits, right? And I just started working immediately. My husband also started working immediately. So we calculated our income and it was way above, like way above anything you asking for any form of benefit. So we just practically did not get any benefit at all. None. Rental assistance, nothing. Even grants to go back to school, nothing. So even when I now decided I wanted to go back to school, I had to start paying out of my own pocket. So that's why I asked the question, would it be okay for a new immigrant to just start working immediately or go back to school and use that opportunity to get the benefits while they get grants, or just go in between? Some people want to say, I want to go back to school immediately so that I can take advantage of this period I am getting benefits from the government to support myself. Because by the time they start working, they will not be able to get those benefits like grants or going back to school again. And they will have to start paying from their own pocket or look for scholarship. So in this case, would you say it is better to just focus on going back to school immediately you land and get all the benefits, or start working immediately and forget the benefits?
Okay, so when it comes to school, when it comes to student loans and like grants to go back to school, Saskatchewan doesn't limit it to the first year.
Okay.
They don't say after you have crossed the first year, you're no longer eligible to anything. Why
Okay.
I put that as year one is typically before the first year mark, most immigrants are able to get jobs here, which
Okay.
means that you are now able to earn income here.
Okay.
For Saskatchewan, at least I remember when we landed, the reason why we were able to use our income from back home was that it was compulsory to determine the
The child
family income as
benefit.
of that time,
Okay. Yeah.
right? It was
Yeah.
it was it was important to determine what is your net family income
Income.
as of today. And
Mm.
because we're newly landed, we both didn't have jobs at the time of the application. It had to be your income for the last year from wherever,
Mhm.
right? So that's
Yeah.
the reason why we used our income from back home. We could only do that once because by the time we were filing taxes for the next year, we had started working. So we could use our income from here,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Saskatchewan offers student loans and grants to people who have been here from
For as long as.
there's no limit. Again, what determines how much grant and how much loan you get is your family income.
Okay.
Because beyond just paying for tuition and beyond just paying for the cost of your books, they also give like a monthly living allowance to the person who is going to school. And
Okay.
that living allowance is determined considering your family composition and your family income. So,
Okay.
regardless of the time that you choose to go back to school, your family income is always going to be put into consideration.
Okay.
If you're not working and your spouse is not working at the time you're doing the application, you will definitely be able to get grants,
Okay.
knowing that with this family composition, they're going to be able to get by. They should be able to pay for their basic amenities while they're both studying. So if
Okay.
the two people are not working, you will most likely be able to get the maximums on monthly living allowance and get some part of that waived off as the grants. So the
Okay.
grants don't really come to you as money in your pocket. It's a
Mm-hmm.
part of the student loans that will now be shaved off and waived for you as the
Mm-hmm.
grant, right? Student loans typically it never goes to the individual. It does not
Yeah.
ever. It's never sent to you. The only thing that's sent to you is the monthly living allowance, and that monthly living allowance
Okay.
is a of the loan. Do you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So even if it seems like they're giving you free money now, it's the cumulative, it's a part of the loan that you are approved for. So at the end of
Okay.
the day, you find out that you get all these living allowances, they pay for your tuition, they pay for your books, and then at the end of the program, you are thousands of dollars in debt. You
Yeah.
now have to start
To
paying
start
back.
paying
They give
back.
you like a couple of months after you finish the program,
Okay.
within which you now start paying
Paying
for the
back.
loan. So if
Okay.
it's absolutely imperative for you to go back to school, because you're trying to upgrade your education, upgrade your skills, just so you're able to get a job here, by all means, I'll advise anybody to go back. But if it's only for the sake of benefits, I'll ask you to reconsider because at the end of the day, you're going to school, it's student loans. At the end of the day, it is a loan. It becomes
Mm-hmm.
something that you are owing. And you
Yeah.
don't want to start life in this new place suddenly
In
thousands of dollars
debt.
in debt. If it can be avoided, I would say avoid it. I
Mm.
couldn't access student loans when we came because at
Okay.
that time, for to qualify for Saskatchewan student loan, you must have lived in Saskatchewan for at least 12 months. The
Oh, wow.
exception at that time was for people who were coming in through Saskatchewan provincial nomination. They know you don't have an option. You must live in Saskatchewan for that duration of time,
So that's a
right?
good one. Is it still in existence? So anybody coming for under Saskatchewan provincial nomination, they can access the
Yes,
student loan even if they
immediately.
have not lived up to 1 year.
12, yes.
That's
Because with
good.
Saskatchewan nomination, they know you don't have an option. You're not going anywhere. You must stay there so you
Okay.
can access. I found out later that even I, coming in through the federal skilled worker program, I could have accessed Saskatchewan student loans. Or I went to the website, read the requirements, and took it word for word. I found
Okay.
out later that I could have called the office to say, I came in through federal. I haven't lived here up to 12 months, but I intend to live here.
Live
The
here.
program that I'm doing was 9 months. At that point, I had lived in Saskatchewan maybe like 3 months.
Okay.
Given the 3 months plus the 9 months I have to do the program means I'm going to be here for at least 12 months. I would have been able to access that loan if I called. The information just wasn't available to me at the time. So my option was now to go to like a private lender. The interest rate was a little higher than what it would have been with the government, right? But at least I was able to get it from somewhere else, borrow that money, went to school. And honestly, it's not, for me, I always tell everybody that loan, knowing that I was already $10,000 in debt, was my motivation to read.
To finish, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've actually avoided loans, apart from mortgage, everything loan, student loan. I've just avoided them. Okay, so can we take one question? Somebody was asking. Let me see. Somebody said, how soon or early can one apply all these grants, considering that they expect you to have POF intact, and that should last you for about 6 months?
You are, and as a permanent resident in Canada, there are benefits that you are entitled to regardless of your proof of funds. So if you land today, you can go to the Saskatoon Open Door Society or the Open Door Society in Regina or whatever city it is in Saskatchewan you're landing in. You can go there the next day and apply for the benefits. Childcare benefit is a federal benefit that everybody's entitled to regardless of your proof of funds. Right?
Okay.
The only disadvantage, though, that I would say about all these subsidies and government assistance is that you cannot apply to support a family member if you are on government assistance. That's just the only disadvantage.
So for somebody who has a relative and the person wants to apply under SINP, if they are on government support, they cannot claim that.
You will not be considered, because what government support means is the government is supporting you. And for you to be eligible to support someone else, you must be standing on your feet. So think about it like that. Like if the government is helping you, how do you now want to carry another person on top of it? That's how they consider it. But before you can even support anybody, you must have lived in Saskatchewan for up to 12 months. You see, this thing is very calculated. In that 12 months, it is not expected that you will stay on government benefits for 12 months. The maximum that I have seen people get rental benefits is maybe 2 to 3 months, because it's assumed that before that duration is over, you would have gotten a job and you can support yourself.
Wow.
So you see why that 1 year mark is like the most sensitive part?
Yeah, but it's quite different for Manitoba, because for Manitoba, you can be on that rental assistance if your income is still low. It is calculated based on your income. So for a newcomer, you apply to get the rental assistance, and the maximum you can get is like $800. Sorry, there's noise. $800. That's what a family can get, depending on the income of the family. Then the next year, they look at your notice of assessment from the Canada Revenue Agency and determine if you still need rental assistance based on your family composition and your family net income, right? So it's not like they give you rental assistance for 2 months, 3 months, and then it stops.
Okay, so no, it doesn't
stop. Rental assistance for like 1 year, for 2 years. So if one of the family member is earning, let's say, still minimum wage level of, let's say, 24,000 Canadian dollars per annum or less than that, and the other family member or the spouse is going to school, and the duration of her schooling is going to be for 4 years, it means that family will still be on rental assistance until the spouse starts working. And then their income goes up.
Okay. So it doesn't really stop, right? The underlying calculation is that a newcomer is just coming in that 2 to 3 months duration. You would have been able to figure out what your line is going to be. What's the plan? If one person is going to school and the other person is working and you're low income, you will still be able to get it, right? But if you look at it from the angle of income doesn't really stay the same in Canada. And how many people really come here and start from rock bottom? How many immigrants really come here, especially depending on qualification? How many people really come and start right at $24,000? It is unlikely that you will stay there for more than 1 year. It is unlikely. And as soon as you cross that threshold, that's where the benefits get revised and it goes down. Now, if one person is going to school while, how do I explain this? There's a I'm trying to coordinate this properly. You, like I said, they don't automatically stop it, right?
Okay.
They will still
Okay.
assess, but it is assumed that in that 2 to 3 month period where you have landed at the most critical, that's where you need the most help. After that, you would have plotted your line of action to say, okay,
Yeah.
this is what I want to do.
To
And
do.
from what I've seen and from what I've heard, it is very unlikely that immigrants come here, especially skilled professionals, come here and they are right at that $24,000 mark for more than one tax year. So either ways, the benefits will get revised to go down. It
Okay.
will get revised. It will keep going down until it is removed completely. So
Okay.
that's what I mean. So if you're going to be on rental and subsidy, childcare subsidy, some people even get government housing at reduced rates, you
Okay.
will not be able to support somebody who's coming in to use you as like the relative, because
Okay.
part of that benefit is that you would have lived there for up to 1 year and you are able to support yourself. You are not on any government
Government
benefit.
assistance. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So that part is,
It's
you
very
can
important.
you can be on it for the first few months where you come, but don't plan, especially if you plan to support people, don't plan to stay
To
on
stay on.
government benefit for so long.
Exactly.
It will work against you. That's
The
the
same,
truth.
the same thing with Manitoba too. You shouldn't plan to stay on benefits. You plan to be on your own and then you're able to support. But Manitoba head is turning on his own. Okay, so we'll move to the next topic. I think we've talked about benefits for quite a while. The next one is, you've done a video on 2 bedroom already, and I want
Yes,
to
cost
compare.
of rent.
Yeah, I want us to compare how much is it to rent a 2 bedroom in an average okay neighborhood, and then
Neighborhood.
we'll talk about the good neighborhoods where immigrants can rent from, the bad neighborhoods that people should run away from.
So average cost of rent in an okay neighborhood for a 2 bedroom apartment, the range will start anywhere from 1,100 to
Okay.
1,600. Now there's like a general notion in Saskatoon that
Mm.
the east side is safe and expensive, the west side is unsafe and cheap. Absolutely wrong.
Why is
Not
it
true
always the
at
west? The same
all.
thing for Manitoba. There's also the west side that is always unsafe. Why is it always the west?
Absolutely wrong. There are 2 bedroom apartments in the west side that can go for 1,600 a month.
You're
And there
saying
are 2 bedrooms
100.
in the east side that can be 1,002, 1,003. So at the end of the day, it depends on the realtor, it
Okay.
depends on the age of the building and the
Okay.
amenities that the building comes with.
Exactly.
That's what
Exactly.
determines. It's no longer a function of location. It is, who is the realtor? Is it a new build? What
Okay.
is available to me? Is there parking? Are there utilities involved? Is there in-suite laundry and
Yeah.
those things? That's what influences the cost of rent, not 100% location.
For us, I think location does affect as well too, because there are prime neighborhoods. Neighborhoods close to the University of Manitoba are tagged as prime neighborhoods because you have lots of students there. You have demand for housing in those areas. So even if the housings they are old, you can still find that the pricing is almost the same with a new build that has all the facilities inside. Because people want to stay close to the university, they don't want to stay outside in other areas where they'll have to commute and all that. So it's almost the same thing. So how much is it going for 2 bedroom in Saskatoon, in
Okay, so
a good neighborhood? Yeah.
yeah, so I put the range at 1,100 to 1,500.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
for the University of Saskatchewan, yes, the apartments around there considered prime, but it's not a highly sought after by immigrants. It's
Okay.
highly sought after by international students.
Then.
So what you find is that people are renting out rooms inside their houses to international students or to their basements for international students, right?
Okay.
Immigrants don't typically land and go and live around the university, especially if there's no plan
To
to
go to
go
the
back to school at
Yeah.
the university. Even if there are plans to go back to school in the university, what I find people do is they move away from, people don't really like how rowdy it can be. When you gather international students, there's always the exuberance. People fear that it will become loud, it become noisy from the parties and things like that. So what I find people do is They move to other places and then use the transit to go to school. The Saskatoon transit system is very organized. From wherever it is that you are, most of the buses have stops inside the university. So from
Oh,
wherever you live, yes, from wherever you live, you can take a bus that will get you downtown or take a bus that will get you into the University of Saskatchewan. So
okay.
location for immigrants, I don't find that the radius around the university is like a choice
Okay.
destination. For
Okay.
international students, yes, but immigrants are coming in as professionals and learning as with families typically stay away from there. So
Okay.
I'll put the range of a two-bedroom in an okay neighborhood between 1,100 to 1,600 a month.
Okay. That's still the same thing too. But I find that for Manitoba, immigrants actually live more around the university area.
Oh,
That's what I find. Yeah, they live. It's called Pembina. They live around the Pembina area because that's where you find the University of Manitoba. Then the University of Winnipeg is in the downtown core, and that downtown core, we have lots of uh, rough people living in those areas.
when
So
they call them core, it's the
yeah,
same thing here in Saskatoon as well. The core neighborhoods are
it's
the places I would typically advise people to stay
well,
away from.
exactly. So it's almost the same thing. The other day I was looking at a two-bedroom and it was going for 1,400, and I'm like, that money is almost the cost of a mortgage. If somebody
Absolutely. It's more than some people's mortgage.
yeah. So yeah, so I think somebody was asking a question. Let me show you. He said, "What professions are in demand in both provinces?" So, Marina, which professions are in demand in Saskatoon? Let me ask for Saskatoon first.
Okay. So I try to look up, use the in demand list on the SIMP website to look at this. And some of the things I saw they are not familiar. They are in demand by titles, but then I went on Indeed and Sask Jobs to compare and see what professions are organizations always looking for. And some of those names didn't show up.
Okay.
That's one thing I've found here. There's a bit of a disconnect
Connect. Yeah,
between immigration and actual employers.
it's
So
true.
while immigration is saying this is what we need, the employers, it's not reflecting in what the employers are asking for,
Exactly.
right? So
Yeah.
I'm going to base this on what I see on Indeed, on Sask Jobs, and that because I feel like that's what's more accurate. That's what
Mhm.
employers are actually looking for. So I
Yeah.
find that there are a lot of openings when it comes to areas like administrators, like technicians,
Okay.
electrical technicians, just technicians generally.
Okay.
Then there's in the health system, there's always demands for personal care assistants. There are
Exactly.
always demands for like medical office assistants, medical office administrators in that area, in the healthcare area. They're always because those are the ones that you can actually do without licenses. Those are the ones that you can do without getting. You have to go through like a certification
Sure.
process. So
Yeah.
those jobs are always available.
Easy to
Then
get.
administrators, yes, administrators are easy to get around the university, around offices. There are always demands for administrators. Then
Okay.
banking too. I see a number of banking openings. Banks are almost always recruiting because in banking, I find that there's a lot of turnover, especially with newcomers. People get into banking to say, okay, let me get my feet in the door, let me get like Canadian experience. After like a couple of months, then while they are there in the bank, they are now using style to apply.
Yeah.
Sorry, just forgive the hissing sound behind me. I'm cooking and doing this at the same time. So my pressure
Okay. That means we have to wrap up on time so that you
yeah,
quickly.
no hurry, as in I'm just
Yeah.
prepping. I can get back to it when we're done. It's
Okay.
just the pressure cooker now that is hissing behind me, so that's what the sound is. So what
Okay.
I find humans do is like banking. They get into banking to get like work experience, and after like a couple of months, they are now able to figure out how to get into the profession that they actually want. So banking is always uh, doing job fairs and recruiting
So
people because
that means
most
for bankers, they should target Saskatchewan because it's not the same in Manitoba. Banking jobs are not easy to get in Manitoba.
banking is like the easiest that people can get here.
It's not the same.
Before
It's not
before
the same
now,
in Manitoba.
I got into a bank maybe like less than 3 weeks after we landed from just attending one job fair,
Mm,
right? Now, considering the fact that with COVID, they will reduce the number of open houses and job fairs that they can do. I don't know how they are doing that now virtually.
yeah.
So it will not be as frequent now, but I have so many people in my personal circles who were able to get into banking before they could get into other areas.
Wow.
So yeah, I
Wow.
find it easier here.
For banking, what I know for Manitoba is customer service. Customer service, call center agents, they are the ones that can actually get the banking job. But the core banking itself, I hardly find opportunities for people in banking in Manitoba. So that means
It's easy here.
it's
It's
easier
easy
for.
here because they get that for when my husband got in, he didn't even have the IFC certification or the CSC certification. The bank paid for him to do it. So they
Okay.
employed him and gave him 90 days to take the exam and pass.
Okay.
Right? And they paid for it, paid for the books, paid for the exam, and he passed it.
Okay.
For other, what I hear is happening now is that because of the rate of turnover, the banks are no longer as willing to pay for the exam as they used to be. So if you
Okay.
have it, it's easier.
Okay.
If you have it, it's easier. That's what I find is going on now, but there's still a number of bank openings because of the turnover.
Okay. Wow, that's a good one. Then any banker going to Saskatchewan, just know that there are lots of jobs for you waiting for you
Yes,
over there.
you have to network properly, network
Mhm,
appropriately, go on LinkedIn, connect with people.
mhm.
Referral is still a big thing here. Referral is still a huge deal here. So beyond just applying, you must try to start to meet people, start to network with people, have conversations with people. That whole I would like to have coffee with you just to talk about your banking career. People are very open to invitations like that. So if you're able
Okay.
to meet people where you can leverage on their personal experiences and they can do a referral for you,
Okay.
it's not as hard. Yeah.
That's a good one. Then I think we skipped one part, which is transportation. I wanted to ask, what's the cost of transportation in Saskatchewan? If I don't know whether you use the card, we call it Pego card in Winnipeg. I don't know what they call it in
Yes,
Saskatchewan.
we have the monthly bus pass. It
Yeah, the
has a
money.
name. I just don't remember what it's called right now. Yeah.
Okay. So how much is it going for at the moment? And if there are
Okay.
any discounts for newcomers?
So, in the first few weeks when newcomers arrive, if you're doing any programs with the Open Door Society, you get free bus passes to get
Oh,
from your house to your training center.
okay.
So, Open Door Society has that thing with the Saskatoon Transit where people who are doing that program get special bus passes that
Okay.
allow them ride the bus for free. But
Okay.
if you're getting the normal monthly bus pass, for a first timer, the bus pass is $83 a month. But for the first time, you pay a one-time $5 fee for the card and for the activation. But
Then
subsequently, it will now be $83 a month. It's unlimited rides. If you want to ride the bus from morning till night 10 times for 30 days, as far as it is valid in that month period, you can use it,
that means
right?
Saskatoon is even cheaper.
It's
It's
$83.
cheaper than Manitoba in terms of transportation because although new immigrants get discounts, they get discounts for their bus pass, like will I say 50%. But after
Mhm.
that, um for the normal bus ride is about $100 to use the bus card. It's
What
like
I know some employers do, some employers also offer discounts.
okay,
It's not on the basis of if you're a newcomer or not. It will now be who's your employer. I know the University of Saskatchewan does that. Different employers do to say if you are employed with this organization, you get this percentage off. So it's an arrangement between the employer and Saskatoon Transit. So
okay,
no, I've not heard because I know that when I was in school, I paid the normal bus
right.
fare. But for
Oh,
my school had an arrangement where they could, if you pay for 4 months at a time, if you're paying for up to 4 months at a time, they consider it a semester. If you're paying for up to 4 months at a time, then you get a discount off. But that one is available to students. It was not on the basis of newcomers because I was a student. Right.
okay.
So those are the kind of discounts they offer. I don't know. I don't think Saskatoon Transit has any package that they offer for newcomers. I would have known. It would have been
Okay.
offered at that point. Yeah.
Manitoba actually has, and then they also have for students. So any students coming, they have their own discounted students bus pass. Then children below 12 years, they also have their own. It's free for children
It's
below
free.
12.
Yes, the same thing here. It's free.
Bus riding for children below 12 years. So let me take one question. Somebody is asking, what about business analysis career in Saskatchewan? I know you are working towards your human resources CPHR designation, and maybe you become a career coach someday. So you give us info. What about business analysis career in Saskatchewan? How is it like?
Business analysis, I think, is broad. There are different people are able to do BA in different areas. There are IT business analysts, there are HR business analysts, there are financial business. Like, what exactly are you looking at? What area exactly are you looking at?
Okay.
In fairness, if I'm going to go by the number of openings I have seen for business analysts, it is not a very, very big thing.
In
It is not
Saskatchewan.
very big. Yes, it is not very, very big like that. Again, like that's why I first asked, what area exactly are you looking to get into? Maybe you don't want to start as business analyst. It is easier to move as a business analyst when you're already inside the system. You can identify a need and now say, okay, I'm going to go back and study to meet this need. But
Okay.
from the outside, it is
Yeah.
hard to tell who's looking for business analyst. The
Okay.
organization that I work for, I see a lot of people with the title business analyst, but I've never seen an
Thank you.
opening. I have never seen an opening where they say we're looking for a business analyst.
The same
So it
thing with
seems like people
Manitoba.
get in with a different name, they study internally and then are able to assess the business. It's like business analysis, like the hidden job market. You never see the postings, but they're constantly getting filled.
Okay.
Right?
So
So
it's the same thing for Manitoba. For Manitoba, there is like how will I put it? A lot of people have this bandwagon mentality. Like,
absolutely.
oh, this is what is in vogue.
That's
This is
what's
what
raining. True.
is lucrative. At some point, it was in the beginning. It was project management. A
It
lot of
was
people are like,
PMP. Yeah.
project management, but just do project management, you get a job. And a lot of people rush into project management, finished, and they didn't find the jobs. So something happened, business analysis, and you see lots of people going into business analysis, doing the courses, and I can tell you there are lots of people who have the business ICBAP, whatever designation, and they've not been able to
To
get
get job.
jobs as business analysts. So for me, what I would say personally is try to get your feet in the door of
In
where
the
you
door
want to work,
first.
and then before you determine what course you want to do, what career line you want to take. Because if you go start with doing the course first, it's not like nursing where you go do nursing and you know your
It's
nursing job is
guaranteed.
waiting for
Yeah.
you. So that's the whole idea of this whole career thing. And I hope that maybe when Marina starts her coaching business, you people will patronize Marina for career advice. Okay, so one more question. What else? We've talked about neighborhoods, accommodation. What else? Average cost of buying. Okay, average cost of buying a house. Yes, let's talk about that.
So is this like for a newcomer
Well,
or just what housing costs generally?
generally, if you stayed in Saskatoon for let's say three years, 2 years, you want to buy a house. What's the average cost of buying a new build versus an old house?
So I have found situations where the old houses are more expensive than the new ones. Location, number one, is the
Okay.
first determinant. So how Saskatoon is there are new communities that are springing up in different places.
Okay.
With these new communities means that the houses there will be new.
Okay.
So if you're looking to buy in a new community, and depending on the kind of house, because I mean, if you're looking to buy maybe like a bungalow, or is it going to be like a semi-detached duplex, or are you looking at a two-story standalone duplex, or are you looking at a modified bi-level? Modified bi-levels can range from anywhere between $350,000 to $650,000.
Housing
A
is
modified
expensive.
It is
In
expensive.
Saskatoon.
Modified by levels are I find that they are more expensive than standalone two-story buildings. And the reason is because with modified by levels, you're able to get a two-bedroom basement out of it because of the way it's built, because of the space. You
Okay.
can get two-bedroom basement. So if you're going to buy the buy level, you can rent out the basement. That will now be an additional source of income. So you find that sometimes the rent from the basement can pay up to 75% of the mortgage.
Okay.
Right? So that's
Okay.
the reason why modified buy levels are a bit popular.
Lucrative. Okay.
There are modified buy levels that are 350,000. There are also modified buy levels that can be 450, 500,000. There are modified buy levels in some areas in Evergreen in Saskatoon that can go for 650 to $750,000.
Wow.
So it was not like this when I landed. I enjoy just looking at apartments, not because I'm looking to buy anytime. So I just enjoy
Or
staring. And
you want to go into real estate too?
no, it's just curiosity. It's just curiosity. I don't have power for real estate. And I remember looking at how, like when we were looking to buy our home, right? I remember looking at houses and I'm like, 350,000, that's too expensive. But now I'm seeing some of those same kind of buildings that was 350,000 in 2017, 2018. Some of them are going for up to 450, 500 now, depending on location. If you're going to buy a house in like a new community, I find that people are tilting towards building custom builds.
Yeah.
They say it's cheaper because you can influence what is bought. You can influence the quality of the things that you want. So it can be cheaper, it can be more expensive, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the quality of the materials you want and what you're picking.
Mm-hmm.
But to now think that in older neighborhoods, like they are really nice neighborhoods. There are houses in Saskatoon that go for $2 million, Wolo.
Okay.
That's the dream. That I'm telling you, it's called Willows. I'm going to do a video on it soon, like do a drive-through of Saskatoon's richest neighborhoods. Willows, medical doctors, that's where they are. There's another one called Greenbrier. The houses there are more than $2 million.
Okay,
That one
yeah,
is just
I think we have a neighborhood like that. It's even
oh
close
my
to the
goodness.
rest of Manitoba. They call neighborhood Bridgewaters. That's where you
They always
have
have fancy
Water,
names.
Sage Creek, yeah, Sage Creek, Bonavista, White Ridge. Those are the very, very prime rich neighborhoods. And it's
Yeah,
an
they are prime.
that in
For
that.
for us, it would be like the Stonebridge. I'm removing Willows and Greenbrier now. That's not what immigrants or newcomers look at. If you're not a doctor, just avoid. you know. So for us, it would be like the Stonebridge, the Willow Grove, the Brighton. These are new, relatively new neighborhoods where the houses are still new. They are
Okay.
springing up. So depending on the location, the part of the city where you're looking to build in, because property tax is different.
Mm-hmm.
In the east of Saskatoon, it is more expensive. Property tax is more expensive in the east of Saskatoon than it is in the west,
Okay.
right? So
Okay.
the same house might be maybe $30,000 cheaper in the west than it is in the east.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a factor that comes into play when it comes to buying a house. Depends on you and then the neighborhood you're looking to get into. But the range, I would say for a semi-detached duplex, you can get it anywhere from 320 to 330, well, 310 to 330,000. So
That's a
like
fair
a duplex,
price.
but it's two joined together.
That's actually a fair price
It's fair.
for a
And then
fair
the
price.
townhouses as well are like the duplexes that are maybe like 6 duplexes joined together. For
Mm.
that one, the range can be anywhere from like 260 to 290,000, depending on location.
Okay.
Right? Yes.
Okay. So let's take this question. What vocational courses are common in Saskatchewan and Manitoba?
I'll let you go first, Wolo. What's common in
Vocational
Manitoba?
courses. Well, the normal vocational courses are plumbing, electrician. No, electrician. There are so much that they are even finding work. There are so many of them. They are even finding work. But plumbing, they are always in demand. Plumbers are always in demand. What else? I think those are the only two. And I wouldn't say truck driving is a vocational course. Would I say that's a vocational course? I think that one is on its own. It's independent.
Yeah, it's on
But
its own.
plumbing is highly, highly in demand in Manitoba. That's the only one I know for now. For the other ones, I can't really say.
It's about the same here. The electricians, the plumbers. Another one I would say is a bit popular here is carpenters,
Okay.
because there's a lot of construction that is always going on. A
Okay.
lot of building is. I don't know any time in Saskatoon that building of houses, road construction, or things are not going on. So
Okay.
carpenters, I find, are in demand. In Canada, there's a lot of, when it comes to building houses, there's a lot of use of wood. Very
Yeah,
different from what we know in Nigeria. So carpenters are always, always, always in demand. Like wherever you go, you need a carpenter. If it's to build the
carpenter.
house, to change something, to change this or build a door, you want, they're always, I know that carpenters are always highly sought after. Saskatoon has a technical trade school where
Mm-hmm.
they are training these people. So if you have like a personal need, say something broke in your house, you can call them to say you need a plumber. And I think the minimum where they start from what I hear, is between $23 and $25 an hour
Ah,
to
they are,
first come and look at the
they are
problem,
earning plenty money already as students.
to come and look at what the problem is. You already start getting charged. Then they'll now tell you what it is, and then you will buy everything and pay them that range or more depending on the problem for
Okay.
their services. So these guys they are earning a lot of money if you want to look at it.
Okay. So the next question is, I have applied for a fashion school, University of Saskatchewan. Is it advisable to come with my minor children for a course of 16 months?
Fashion school in University of Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
So minor children, how old are these children? See, at the end of the day, the number of children you have or your family composition is not going to affect whether you get admission or not. Where I find the major issue is applying for the study permit, the study visa rather.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do a lot of convincing to the visa officer that you have plans to leave the country when you're done studying.
Mm-hmm.
I find it very funny because Canada needs people,
Yeah.
right? That's why immigration is still a thing. Every year we're saying we need this number of people. But isn't it funny that one criteria to get study visa is to prove that you will leave the country? Don't you want the person to stay? In
Exactly.
essence sense, you want the person to stay. You want their expertise to remain. So this
Yeah.
person can contribute to the economy. But at that point where you're applying, what you're trying to prove to the visa officer that it's that you have intentions to leave the country when you're done. So
Okay.
if your children are the only ties you have with your home country and you're
Mm-hmm.
coming with them, you're already telling the visa officers that my ties to my country is weak. I don't have plans to go back. If my children are with me, there's no reason for me to go back. That's not the only thing I would say. Think about it very well when it comes to applying for the study permit. Do you have any other ties with your home country? And I don't know what the age of your children are. Are you going to be able to
Cool.
combine being a parent and
Exactly.
being in school?
Exactly.
You cannot use the fact that, oh, I don't have childcare. That's not a valid excuse for
Excuse.
failing in school. You cannot defer the admission because you don't have childcare. It's not their business. It is assumed that before you applied for that program, before you came with your children, you already made plans of what is going to happen with your children while you're studying. So it's
Okay.
something that you want to think about properly from the angle of, can I cope? Would it be is my academics going to suffer because they're here? And how are you going to now establish ties with your home country if your children are coming with you? So that's what I would advise the person to do. Think about it properly.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. In fact, it's not easy combining academics with minor children, especially when the other partner is not even there. So how would the person
Exactly.
go? And then you
When
still
the
have
other partner is there, it's a lot of work. You
and then
now
you
do it
still have to
alone.
pay childcare, daycare fees.
Absolutely.
You're not getting any subsidy from the government for paying.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You're
So
a temporary resident. So some of these subsidies and the benefits we have talked about, it's not open to temporary residents. International students can only apply for the federal childcare benefits if they have been here minimum of 18
it's
months.
not, yeah.
So if your program is 16 months, it means you won't qualify.
Yeah. So most of the questions are not even tilting towards living in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. What are my chances of getting a job? Well, you can apply for a job from well, you can apply, but it's very difficult getting a job from outside Canada. That one is a very known fact. Is a known fact. So, what else?
Well, how about cost of childcare? What is childcare like in Manitoba?
Okay, Manitoba is the second most cheapest province when it comes to childcare.
For real?
Yeah.
Please give
So
me a range.
like $400 per month.
Is that like do you guys, is it broken down to like licensed and unlicensed? Do you guys have it like that, or is
Yeah,
just the same thing?
it's broken down to licensed and unlicensed, and then the government gives subsidies to parents.
So for
To
this range, is that for like a licensed childcare center that will charge 400?
yes,
Wow.
For a licensed childcare center, $400
Wow.
a
Is
month.
it influenced? Is it influenced by the age of the child, or are there like flat fees
Yeah,
depending on the number of hours?
influenced by the age of the child. So if the child is below certain age, it is much more expensive. The older the child gets, then it becomes cheaper.
Yes, that's
So
what happens here as well.
so for a child between the age of 1 to the family will be paying like $400 thereabouts.
Wow. And
Yeah.
that's the most expensive because as they get older, it gets cheaper.
Yeah.
Wow.
But if you want to go for private, I find that private daycare are more expensive than the one subsidized by the government, because government subsidizes daycare. So the one subsidized by the government is actually cheaper compared to the ones run by private organizations and private churches. Some private churches
Wow.
run their own daycare. So people pay as much as $600 for private daycare. And there is a huge wait list.
Oh,
Get
yeah. The
yeah,
wait
there's a
list.
huge wait list. People who are even pregnant sign up for daycare before the child
Before the
comes.
child is born. And your maternity leave is 12 months.
So they sign up so that they can get those spaces reserved for them. When the child is born, they know that they have a space for the child. So
Wow.
yeah, so except the parent wants to opt for a private daycare, you can find them. They are easy to get. But the one that is subsidized by the government, you have to be on a wait list.
It's
So
the exact opposite here.
okay.
So how they work here, and they're broken into licensed and unlicensed.
Hmm.
It is only if your child is in a licensed daycare center, that's when the government subsidizes. So that one is the same. But
Okay.
the licensed daycare centers are way more expensive than the private day homes.
Okay.
I've used both of them, and the price difference is like night and day. So when I was in school, my
Hmm.
kids, well, they were young. My son was almost 4 and my daughter was 2. Both
Yeah.
of them, as at the time I was leaving the licensed daycare center, I was paying $1,400 a month for both of them.
Okay.
This was after subsidy, everything had been removed. Like
Everything.
we're no longer getting subsidy. So it was
Okay.
out of pocket. It was $1,400 a month. The
Wow.
only reason why I even knew that there were things like private day homes was that my son's school, they were going to change like the busing. So we needed to either change his daycare or take him to a new school that had a daycare inside, because that's an option as well. There are some
Mm.
schools that have daycares inside. Those ones are licensed and they are expensive. They are the ones that have the long waiting list. Like you have to wait for because if they're inside schools, it's very convenient for parents. So those
Yeah.
those kind of daycares are more in demand,
Hmm.
right? But it was my daughter's teacher that told me, like, oh, there's a private day home on the road of the school where my kids attend. Said try, maybe she has opening. And I tried. At the point where we were going to get in, my son was 4 at this time. It was $100 for him, because he was in grade it was in, no, my son was 5, he was in grade 1. So he went to school every day and was only going to need care for maybe like a number of hours in a week. It was $100 for him. My daughter was in preschool. She was going to be in school 3 hours a day, Monday to Thursday. It was $300 in the private day home. So
Okay.
between both my children, it was $400 compared to $1,400 where I was coming from.
Okay, let me clarify. There is private licensed daycare and
Okay.
unlicensed. So I was talking about the more expensive ones are the private licensed ones run by churches.
Okay.
Those ones are expensive. Then there's the one run by YMCA.
Oh, yeah.
YMCA, Young Women
YWCA.
as well. Those ones are also cheap. Those ones are cheaper than the government licensed daycare. The government licensed daycare is cheap, but the one run by the YWCA is cheaper. Then the private licensed daycare is more expensive. Then the unlicensed ones are the cheapest.
Cheaper. Okay, yeah. So it's about the same. Like they are broken
Yeah,
down into the different categories like that.
yeah, yeah. Let me just take some more questions and then we'll try to wrap up. It's almost 1 hour. It says public health inspectors jobs in Saskatoon and nutrition jobs. Which is better?
I would say public health,
Okay.
because the demand is better for public health inspectors. With the Saskatchewan Health Authority, I find that they are the biggest employers of healthcare professionals in Saskatchewan. The health
Okay.
authority is the biggest. Like if you're able to get a job there, then yes. Public health inspectors are going to always be more in demand than nutrition jobs. So I would say if it's yeah, public health is where I'll tilt more towards.
Okay. Okay, so one more question. I can't. Most of these questions are not related to the topic, so it's difficult answering them. What else? Well, we've talked about cost of housing and purchasing.
I saw a question about somebody asking if it's advisable. What if a newcomer wants to buy a house upon arrival? I
Okay.
generally discourage that.
Yeah.
I generally discourage it, except you're Chinese and you're coming with $350,000 cash.
Cash.
Then yes, absolutely, by all means, go ahead and purchase a house. But the
Exactly.
reason why I don't advise newcomers to look at buying a house immediately they come, if they are not using cash, is number one, the amount of money you qualify for as mortgage
Mm-hmm.
is very closely tied to your joint family income.
Yeah.
And in this case, it is not going to be family income from where you're coming from. It is family income from the job, what you are earning now.
Mm-hmm.
So except you have a job that is not part-time, that is not a term position. If your job is a temporary job, it will not be considered valid enough to secure a mortgage. If
Yeah.
your job is permanent, then they will consider your take home.
Yeah.
If on your offer of employment it says you're earning $75,000 a year, it is
Mm-hmm.
not $75 divided by 12. That's not what you take home in the month. By the time they do all the deductions, your
Taxes.
eyes will first turn when you see
After all the taxes have been taken, the CPP, and then you look
when
at.
they will do all the
In
deductions.
fact,
What you
I don't look at my gross again. I just focus on my net.
I see that is so heartbreaking. But the good thing is at least you see what the money is being used for. That's the only consolation. No.
Mm,
So by the time they consider what you have as your take home income, your mortgage, what you pay for the mortgage is not supposed to exceed, I think, 33% of your take home income. So by the
okay,
time they do that breakdown, what exactly do you qualify for?
exactly.
Right? So
Mhm.
so I advise people give it at least 1 year. In that 1 year you can save. Don't forget it is mortgage, but you also have to drop a percentage, at least 5% as down payment. That's
Mhm.
excluding closing fees and legal fees.
Yeah.
Right? You need to drop at least 5%. So let's say the house you're going to buy is $300,000. 5% of that is $15,000. Do you
Okay.
have that sitting somewhere?
Mhm.
Even if you do, you are still going to need a job. They are still going to need to check your net income at the end of the month. You are
And
going to have to consider your credit history because
yeah,
that also influences the interest rate that you get for mortgage. So if you have not had enough time to build a healthy enough credit history to be sure that your level of indebtedness is not so high, you're
mhm,
going to get outrageous interest rates. So
exactly.
it's advisable to wait, give it some time between say 12 to 18 months to build a credit history, to save,
Mhm.
very important, because the 5% is just what you need to drop. There's the legal fees, there's the closing fees. And moving into a new house, trust me, it is expensive. You're
Mhm.
going to buy stuff, you're starting fully furnishing a new house,
So
right?
exactly.
If you sit down and count the cost, and from apartments, for people who say maybe you're living in apartments and then you now want to move to your house. In apartments, there are some utilities you don't pay.
Mhm.
Maybe you don't pay for water, you don't pay for heating, maybe it's just power you pay for. When you
Exactly.
move into your own house, you will
You pay
now pay
for
for things like all of it, property taxes, energy, heating. Your expenses almost double when you
double.
move into a new house.
Exactly
So you
double
have to really sit down, count the cost, put
before.
all of these things into perspective before you go ahead and say, okay, maybe it's advisable.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think this question is for you. What's the possibility of succeeding as a health administrator? Since there is demand for, anyway, there's always demand for healthcare workers in Canada. So,
Possibility of succeeding.
yeah, as
I'm
a health.
trying to understand exactly succeeding generally or getting the job. See, the jobs are in demand, but the possibility of succeeding is entirely up to you as the individual. You can succeed in any career in Canada. It totally depends on you.
Okay.
First possibility is a mindset change. That's one of the first shockers that people get, especially newcomers who are coming from like third world country. There's a need for us to really sit down and reorganize the way we look at things.
Mm.
The work environment here is different from what I knew in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different from what I knew. There are laid down policies and principles that you must follow. There's no cutting corners. There's no, because I went to my boss's house on Saturday to go and wash their car, I can get away with some things at work. It does not happen here. Or when my madam is coming to work, I run and go and carry her bag, so I'll get away with. Yes, do they have those office politics? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But here, a lot of it depends on you and what your drive is. If for the people who have followed me for a while, I always talk about what's your why. Be
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
intentional in the kind of relationships you build, in your
Yeah.
networking. The jobs are available, you can apply. Whether you get the job is now going to depend on how much did you prepare, your interviewing techniques, how good are you with that. There are a lot of resources online that can help you prepare for these interviews in a way that is culturally appropriate in Canada. That's the thing, right? But getting the job, how much you're able to succeed on the role is totally going to depend on you and what drives you. What's the end goal for you? What price are you willing to pay to get to that goal? That's what's going to determine how you do every day. And here, one major advantage I see in Canada is that your hard work directly translates. If you put in the work, if you put in the work, if you put in the work properly, like you channel your energy appropriately, you will grow. It is in Canada here, I saw where people will say they get promoted and they say, no, I don't want any more work, so I'll reject the promotion. Can
Yeah.
never be a Nigerian.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
I've never seen.
I did that too.
You rejected promotion, Wolo.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
We have to carry your picture
It
to
was stressing me.
mountain top.
No,
Let's
it
go and pray.
was stressing me. It was,
Well, that's a thing, though. That's the thing. But it's not very popular to see people reject.
I did.
It must be bad.
I was glad that I told them to put me back to my position. And I tried it for like 6 months. It was a huge struggle. And I was just telling myself I cannot continue to struggle in this, and I don't want to fail. I don't like failing. So just take me back to my level.
Was
Maybe,
it something you were given or you applied for it, like the level above?
yeah, of course I applied for it and I got it and I was promoted. And after 6 months in the position, I told them that I don't think I will cope. They should put me back. Yeah, because it demanded a lot of analysis, and you can spend like 5 hours trying to solve one problem. And it was too much for me. I said no. I just said no.
I'm going to write this down. This is the first.
I thought they should put me back. And even when my team there was like, I'm sorry. I said yes. I'm the one that said that I want to go back to. Even another of my, she was my resource officer. She was on 2 steps higher than me, and it was affecting her mental health. She told them they should bring her back.
That must be hard.
Yeah, it's really highly analytical. Highly analytical. So it happens. If you know that you can't cope with the pressure of the demand of that role, instead of you to fail and keep failing on it, and
that's true.
tell yourself the truth and step down. Once you know that your mental capacity can now expand to take it, then you go back and take it.
Go back.
Because the opportunities are still there. The opportunity for growth is there. It's just that at that point in time,
the timing has to be right.
And I told myself, I can't stress myself. On this one, I'll drop. And I'm not the only one. A lot of people are doing that. So it's not new. Yeah. So I think we'll answer this one more question and we'll call it a wrap. Most of the questions are tilted towards immigration. Today is not immigration, please. We'll talk about immigration some other time. We're talking about living in Saskatchewan versus Manitoba. So if you're asking questions concerning your NOC code, concerning the occupation in demand list, I will not be able to answer them because it is not related to the topic. When I do another live, then I'll be able to answer those questions. So how's the human resources career in Manitoba, please? Okay, I'll answer one more question. Should one look to do masters in Manitoba or Saskatchewan, or go directly to write MCCQE1? I think this person is a medical doctor. For you to write MCCQE, you're a medical doctor. And the question is, why do you want to do a master's if you're a medical doctor? Do you want to change career, or do you want to continue? What's the purpose of the master's? Is it related to medicine or not? If it's related to medicine, then you can go ahead. Um, any of the schools are fine. Manitoba, University of Manitoba, University of Saskatchewan, any of them are fine. And based on our discussion, you can see that there are so many similarities between Saskatchewan and Manitoba. There's actually no difference, if I would say. Almost
Absolutely.
everything is almost the same because we are in the colder part
The
of Canada.
prairies, yeah.
So if you want to choose Manitoba, it's fine. If you want to choose Saskatchewan, it's fine. If you're looking at, okay, getting a provincial nomination in terms of how fast can you get a provincial nomination after your studies, for Saskatchewan, normally after you finished, you work 6 months, you have a job, you can apply for a PNP. Same thing applies for Manitoba as well. So it's almost the same thing. So the weather is the same. Almost everything is just the same. The snowstorm
The
is
prairies the same,
so
yeah.
there is no difference between Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Let me answer one more question, and then what is living in Regina looks like, because okay, she said discussion has been, this person said discussion has been around Saskatoon. Well, Regina is almost the same thing. I think she
It's the same
explained
thing.
from the beginning.
I explained at the beginning
Yeah. Okay, so I think I saw one question that I wanted to ask.
about HR. You were reading it out.
Somebody
What's HR in Manitoba?
human resources. Okay. Yeah, how is the human resources career in Manitoba? Okay, so the human resources career in Manitoba is, I won't say there is demand for it. I won't say that. I would say it's fair. The thing is, there is this bandwagon approach which I've talked about. I talked about it when I talked about business analysis, and the same thing is happening to human resources as well. So you have people who were legal practitioners in their home country, and when they came to Canada, they saw that it's very difficult getting into the legal profession. The next best profession they look at is human resources. So you have lots of people already getting the CPHR designation when they are yet to get the human resources job. So for me, I would say you have to network. The jobs are there, but you have to network very well before you can get it. And there's also other aspects of human resources that people should also consider as well. Something like benefits. There's this is this that has to do with benefits, pension calculation. There's this designation that people get. It's different from the CPHRO designation itself. So that designation alone will put you under the benefits section of any organization, compared to the core human resources where you have to do recruitment, what do you call it now, human resources generalists and all that, recruitment selection, all those ones. Those ones are the core human resources, but benefits itself is also separated from human resources as well. So if you're looking for a job as a human resources person and you want to land in Manitoba, the best thing is get your designation. If you get the designation, it will be easier for you to get a job. But it will be okay for you to get the job first. Look at the organization you're working in first. If there is opportunity for you to move in that organization and get the CPHR designation, then go ahead and get it. Because
Absolutely.
if you're getting the CPHR designation first before looking for the job, there's every likelihood you might not get a job related to human resources, but you might get something related to administration, which is also
True.
fair, right? So you now start plotting and networking your way to getting the job, the real job in human resources itself. The demand is fair. It's not that it is high or low.
Overwhelming, yeah.
Yeah, there's already competition in that area because you have lots of people who are living their own career path in law and now tilting towards human resources. So that's the answer for that one. I think we've talked too much already, and if we continue like this, we will not stop. So do we take one more question, or should we call it a wrap? Let me see if there's one more question. I've talked about health information management. I think I've already talked about this MCC. Okay, well, when I talk about immigration, we'll answer all those immigration questions. For now, it's actually for living in Saskatchewan versus living in Manitoba. And I've learned a lot from Marina today. Maybe I should relocate to Saskatchewan.
I'm thinking about childcare and considering Manitoba too.
But it's too cold, Jare. If I want to run away, I'll run away to BC. That's not the brain.
We're saving for BC.
Okay, so I think I think one more question can talk assessing St. Vincent de Paul benefits to families with household items in Saskatoon. A friend of mine had the opportunity at meeting. Is there
I've heard that before. It's something I will have to look at. But I know St. Vincent de Paul is not a familiar name in Saskatoon. We have Salvation Army that helps to provide at particular times of the year. Like right now for Christmas, they're going to be sending out Christmas hampers. When it's back to school, they fill up like backpacks and send to families. I don't know if they have specific programs dedicated to newcomers. I know they also have an arm or an affiliate that helps Dress for Success, that helps newcomers to access clothes to go back to work. So with like maybe like $20, you can feel like a whole big tote bag with clothes that you can use to go back to school.
Okay.
But I don't know if they have that. I've heard so much about this St. Vincent de Paul where they give you things to furnish like a full house. I don't know if they have a program that is dedicated to newcomers and helping them furnish their house specifically. Right? I just know that Salvation Army, they have a lot of things they do. There are a number of churches that actually help out as well. But to say we have a dedicated something like St. Vincent de Paul, I'll have to look into it. And if I find, I'll make a video and talk about it.
I think we have that in Manitoba. It's called Vincent Laurent, St. Vincent Laurent. Vincent Laurent. We have that. It's somewhere around St. Boniface. And they have free furnitures. So a new immigrant, if you come and you don't want to buy any new furniture, you can go there and collect used furniture. Sometimes some of these companies, they actually give their expired furnitures, they donate it to that place. But I shy away from getting used furnitures because of bed bugs.
Exactly. That's the thing. So when it comes to chairs and beds, you want to be careful.
I would rather spend the money and buy a new furniture. I know that I have peace of mind. I'm going to pick up. Although they say they disinfect all their furnitures and all that. But anybody who comes and doesn't have the money to buy a new furniture, if you come to Manitoba, you can go to Vincent Laurent. In Manitoba, it is called Vincent Laurent, and it is in Winnipeg, based in Winnipeg. There's another one in Brandon. I don't know the name. I can't remember the name. So if you want to get free furniture, free clothes, you can go there. Then for Manitoba, we have what you call the Manitoba Start. That is where every new immigrant goes to for career coaching, where they pay you up with a coach that can help you get a job and all that, and then tell you about how living in Manitoba is and some other benefits that people can access. There's also one benefit I didn't mention. Pregnant women in Manitoba, they get $80 per month from the government.
Just for being pregnant?
Yes, just for being pregnant.
Wow.
They get $80, yes. It is free money just for being pregnant. And you can get free baby stuff. There's somewhere they go to get free baby stuff while waiting to give birth to the child for pregnant women. So those are some of the benefits I just remembered. I said, let me mention them before I forget. So I think we have spoken extensively, and I'm super happy that Marina joined me on this live. She gave me the ginger when I had lost energy. I'd lost energy for YouTube, but she gave me the ginger. So please, if you are not following Marina, please go and subscribe. I'm begging you people. If you want me to kneel down, I beg you people. Go and we should get her subscription to 10,000 before this year runs out. Please do that so that we can come on live and be talking more about Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Okay, so I think we have did we answer this question? I think we did answer human resources. Okay, yeah. Okay, so Marina, I think I would release you now so that I can go and complete your cooking. Thank you so much for joining me on this live, and I hope to invite you some other time so that we can talk more extensively about every other thing related to living in Saskatoon and maybe you can find someone who lives in Regina to also talk about Regina as well.
I'm actually pairing with somebody who does settlement services in Regina.
Okay.
So that we can compare Saskatoon and Regina. So that will come up on my channel sometime in the next couple of weeks. So please look out for that. It's Saskatoon and Regina have the same base policies because it's the same province. The benefits, everything that underline those things are the same. So what I talked about for Saskatoon, it totally mirrors for Regina as well, right? It's hard for me to give you as practical information with Regina as I do with Saskatoon because sometimes looking at it from a distance is different from when you live there. So I'd rather not stare instead of giving you information that's incorrect. Okay.
Exactly.
So because I've been getting questions about Regina as well, is why I'm looking to do this comparison. So that comparison is coming soon. Most of the experiences I share are my personal experiences, and I can only share experiences that I have experienced. Right.
Yeah.
That's why my comments are more tilted towards Saskatoon because that's where I have practical experience.
Okay.
But the video about Saskatoon and Regina is coming soon, so please look out for that.
Okay. That's a good one. We will have Brandon, but Brandon is not as big as I can't compare it to Regina.
To Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandon is still trying to come up in terms of population. So it's not, I can't say we can really compare the two, but I'll try. And
what's the next one? After Winnipeg, what would you consider the closest city that you can compare in Winnipeg?
Brandon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have Brandon. That Brandon is the next biggest city in terms of population. So, but if you want to compare Saskatoon and Regina in terms of population, I think they are bigger than Brandon and Winnipeg.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Saskatoon has about just a little under 350,000 at the moment, and that's more than Regina.
Okay. Okay. All right. So it's been nice talking to. Are you planning on opening a settlement services for new immigrants to Saskatoon?
It's a long-term plan. It's actually a long-term plan.
People are getting,
and it's from my subscribers. Like it's from the questions, the emails that I get on a weekly basis. Why I'm thinking about it. Before I do mine, I'm looking to maybe partner with somebody who already has something existing that I can work with and help out before I get. Because right now, Wolo, honestly, with full-time work, with school, with YouTube. There's just so much I can handle at the time. That's why I'm trying to manage what I get into so that I can commit to it when I eventually do. But it's a long-term plan.
Yeah. Okay. So let's watch out for Marina's career coaching and settlement services. We'll all watch out for that. And please subscribe to her channel. And I want to say thank you so much for joining us, for everybody that joined us on this live. If I didn't answer your question, it is because it is an immigration question and I can't answer that on this one. When I talk about an immigration topic, then you can ask all those questions. But for today, it's basically you knowing what it is like living in Saskatoon versus living in Manitoba and what you can get as a new immigrant, what you can get as a student, and other subtopics that were added to it. So I want to thank Marina so much for joining me on this live.
Thank you for having me, Wolo.
I hope to invite her again and we would dissect living in Regina. Maybe that time I must have gotten information of living in Brandon by then.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. And it's time to end the broadcast. All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.